Even the most fundamentalist, the most hardcore conservative theologically, evangelicals and Protestants believe that this veil between the here and the afterlife or the supernatural or the other realm is very thin, but only on the bad side of things, not on the good side of things. And I'm like, what the heck? Why can it be thin for the bad guys, but not thin for the good guys? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Perhaps there are people out there who it's okay for me to look up to, that are set apart, that are kind of beyond where I am, and the Bible does this and kind of encourages this, in moments where there is a problem, a death, a sickness, the Bible will encourage the saints, this smaller group, to be called in to help. And so I know that there are a lot of nuances with, is it okay to pray to saints? Is it okay, to see them as patron saints and all these things? But just foundationally, I think that evangelicals and Protestants have a misunderstanding of the way the saints have been used, especially in the early church, and what the Bible condones and allows is beyond what we've been taught.
Yeah, I mean, the scriptures talk about it, right? We're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Hebrews, the classic passage, talks about this idea that we go with the saints, that the saints surround us, are with us. I think that's comforting to think about, that like, just because, my grandfather passed away and he's no longer here, why he was here, he was a great influence into my life spiritually. He still prays for me. He's still part of my story. And I think when we throw the baby out with the bathwater with the saints, because I think evangelicals got scared of it because we put them on the level of God or something. And that's not the case at all. It's just, their stories are part of us. And I believe spiritually they're still, interacting for us. And so, I think there is a spiritual element to it as well, that people are scared of. And I don't think there's really reason to be.
I don't want people to miss what you said, though. That great cloud of witnesses, that saints, I think is a powerful passage in Hebrews that implies that there are people who are on the other side, who are cheering, who are interacting, who are engaged with what is going on here. And I know that for a lot of evangelicals and a lot of Protestants, our theologies oftentimes that we've been taught will not allow that, because we've been taught that there's a barrier. They can't see anything, that's going on here, that the rift, the chasm is completely separated. First of all, Jesus used parables where that wasn't the case. The rich man and Lazarus, they're able to see what's going on both in earth and in other places in the afterlife realm. But also, I think that so much of our theology is hung as Protestants and evangelicals, especially into Revelation, where, we have this whole construct. There will be no crying in heaven. There will be no sadness or disappointment in heaven. And so all of these people who have crossed over in heaven and they can't see what's going on here because this would make them sad. And so we've built up this whole construct about what happens in the afterlife and what interaction there is back and forth between the here and now and the there and then, that is hung on really shaky theology that doesn't match up with what you just saw in Hebrews and in other places. And so, I heard a Catholic once ask, why would you ask saints to pray for you? Like, why would you ask people who are already dead to pray for you? What good is that? And, the answer, which, take it or leave it or what you have, but it's like, well, I ask my grandmother to pray for me whenever I'm having a tough time. I'm asking, lots of people around to pray for me during this time. Explain to me why it's wrong to ask people who are not here, to pray for me, but who are still alive. And my theology still says they're still alive. So I think it really just depends on how you see that veil between here and there. And a lot of Protestants and evangelicals see that veil as like a brick concrete wall that's 10 feet thick, like the Great Wall of China. You're not seeing through, you're not getting through, you're not hearing anything. But a lot of people's theologies based in scripture see that veil as very thin. Orthodoxy, that veil is very thin. Catholicism, that veil is very thin. And I think there is a lot of beauty and theological support in us really recognizing that maybe the veil between here and the hereafter is not maybe what we've been taught it is, and there may be other opportunities to see it differently.
Yeah, I mean, look at the transfiguration, right? Moses and Elijah. There didn't seem to be that veil seemed to be pretty thin, right? When Jesus revealed them to Peter, James, and John. So,
And I know I keep jumping in on you,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you just got me thinking now. Even evangelicals and Protestants believe in this like demonic interaction in the world, and
yeah,
the devil can invade people and drive people, and that demons have their hands in things that are going on. I get called a demon all the time. I get called possessed by Satan all the time online. So
yeah.
even the most fundamentalist, the most hardcore conservative theologically evangelicals and Protestants believe that this veil between the here and the afterlife or the supernatural or the other realm is very thin, but only on the bad side of things, not on the good side of things. And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why can it be thin for the bad guys, but not thin for the good guys? Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
No, because it's not fear mongering, right? It's not putting a fear into people.
Interesting.
Right? But yeah, I mean, Jesus on the transfiguration night, that was very
it's a
very real. The saints were just right there, right? I think the saints, I think the veil's very thin, and one day when we're a saint, and we're on the other side with Christ, we'll figure, we'll learn what that's like.
And I think we want it to be, right. I mean, there's a part of me that says, I want this. I desire this. Where's the negative in this? You're right. You look at the example of Jesus, you look at the example of Scripture, you look at your theologies, and you say, what is it about us that desires there to be this wall between the here and between the there? And I think the only answers that come out of that are ones that just are illogical, don't hold up to scrutiny, or really show that we're about something other than truth in what we believe.